What's up, gang? It's Chris Angel at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Today, I want to talk about a little survival school, a little survival camp. We're going to talk about the maze of madness and how do we actually begin to find our way out of the confusion we find ourselves in business, in marketing. This even applies to life. So here's what I've noticed in my life is there are obviously moments and seasons in life of confusion, frustration, anger, and all of this leads to a kind of we just call it madness, right? There's this madness about it all, insanity to it all, and that leads to some misery in it all, right? Like it can be a miserable experience as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. You have to figure out how to generate leads. You've got to figure out how to keep serving clients. You've got to pay your taxes. You've got to budget. You got to do all the stuff. And it can be very overwhelming, especially when you are stuck in the maze of madness. So there's something about that metaphor I really like because a maze can really turn you upside down, right? You don't know, you take a left turn, you take a right turn, and you don't know where you are. And not only do you not know where you are, you don't know how to get back to where you started, and you sure as heck don't know how to get out of this maze. That's what makes it a maze, right? So this is where most people find themselves in the conversation of marketing. I don't know if I should do Facebook. I don't know if I should do Instagram. I don't know what to say. Should I do a 60-second video? Should I do a 20-minute video? Should I make a podcast? And you take left turns and right turns inside that madness, and you don't know where to go. This is what creates the misery for you in marketing, right? So, how do we get out of here? Well, what most of us do is we say, I'm tired of this. I'm going to set a goal. So let's just use December as the example because it's a great goal setting time. You're like, well, this next year is going to be different. I'm going to set a goal. And for a moment in setting the goal, you feel some relief from the madness because you have a moment of clarity, right? But the clarity isn't about where you are in the maze of madness. The clarity is about where you want to go. You're like, this is what I want. Perfect. Congratulations. And now you come back to today and this day of your life, and you realize that you actually don't know how to get there because you're still in the maze of madness. So it's okay to set a goal. It's okay to create a vision board. It's okay to say, this is what I want. But if you don't know where you are, then you have no chance of getting there. And this is the karmic loop. We find ourselves going around and around and around. Every year, the same, right? Different, maybe it's different goals. Maybe it's different tools you bought. Maybe it's a different coach you hired. Maybe it's something different you're trying to do to affect change. But the problem is you can't affect change because you don't know where you are. So here's where here's the analogy I want you to think of for how we begin to change this experience. Okay? We've already established the reason you are experiencing madness and misery is because you're stuck in the maze of madness. Like you don't know what's going on. So if I were to drop you into the jungle, right? Or let's just say I dropped you somewhere. I didn't even tell you where I dropped you. I dropped you somewhere and it was foggy and hazy. And it was hot and you didn't know where you were. When you say, I need to get home, okay? And you know where you live where you live. That's your address. Like you need to get home, but you don't know where you are. So guess what? You don't know how to get there. You don't know if you should go left, right, north, south, east, what? You don't know. You don't know because you don't know where you are. You're not oriented to what is so. You're not oriented to the facts of where you are. So you could be wherever I dropped you and say, well, my goal is to go home. And then you could try all kinds of ways to get home. But if you don't know where you are, right? So in other words, what that can look like, let's use another example here. You're in this hot, foggy place and you start to get tools, right? You buy a hammer, maybe you buy a backpack, you buy some tools and equipment. But you don't know if that tool or equipment is going to help you get out of the terrain I dropped you in. See, some of you in marketing are buying tools that you have no right buying because they have no relevancy to where you're actually stuck. You're buying things hoping that they fix the problem you're in without understanding where you actually are. And you could say like, well, some tools are universal tools. We're always going to need rope. We're always going to need a backpack. Perfect. And so in marketing, you say, well, I'm always going to need a landing page. I'm always going to need an email system, a CRM. Yes, and if you don't know how to use it because you don't know what terrain you're in, what was the point? You're loading yourself down with things that are distracting you from the real task, which the first task is to figure out where you are. It doesn't matter what tools you have if you don't know where you are. And by the way, some of you might be spending your time, money, and energy, which are 3 resources, on tools that fine, those tools might be fine, but they're not for now. Where you need to be spending your resources right now are getting oriented to where you are, right? So we could call this orienteering. When I drop you in the middle of somewhere, what you first need to do is start to look around you and get a lay of the land. Where am I? What are the brutal facts about where I am? And from that place, one of the first tools you might want is a compass, because from a compass, you can actually figure out what direction is north, what direction is south, east, and west, and start to make your trek, start to make your climb up the mountain towards the goal. But most of you aren't spending your time, money, and resources buying a compass and getting brutally honest about the facts of where you are right now. And so, because you don't know where you are, you're setting goals and trying to pursue goals without a lay of the land. And this is what keeps you stuck in the maze of madness. So if you want to get out of there, then the first thing you need to start doing is getting honest about what's working and not working. Just start there. Like, what is not working about marketing for me? What is not working about my business for me? What is working? What that when I do it in business produces a result? What that when I do it in business makes me feel good and strong? What that when I do it makes me not feel good and strong? And so you start to get factual about the land you are in. And from that place, you can now buy a tool, right, that gives you direction, like a compass gives you direction. You can buy a tool that gives you direction towards the goals based on where you are right now, not based on fantasy, right, but based on where you are right now. Okay. So for most of you here, I'm going to give you an insight, right? I'm going to give you a Cliff Notes version here. Life has dropped you. You have dropped yourself into a land, and you're having a hard time finding the facts of the land you're in. And I'm going to tell you from experience, one of the easiest places to orient yourself, in addition to the facts like, this is how much money I make, this is what's working for me, not working for me, the first tool you're going to want to have, the compass you're going to want to have to provide direction for you is your message. Your message. Your message, your message, your message. It comes from a deeper place in you. Your message is the thing your soul wants to say to the world. Your message comes from the path your soul is wanting you to go down. And when you can find that message and share it with the world, there is something in the act of sharing it, even when you have not reached the mountaintop, even when you're still stuck in the maze of madness, that when you speak from this message that comes from your soul, it is as if you are following the compass out of this maze. So you receive a download or a life lesson from life, and it provides direction, instruction, perspective. And then you share that out with the rest of us in marketing. And in the act of sharing it, not only does it serve us, but it also serves you, because it's as if you're taking steps in that direction. So the first place for many of you to start, in addition to acknowledging what's so about your income, your leads, right, your team, your debt, all that stuff, is to also then begin to look at what is true about the conversation I'm here to lead. Because some of you in your marketing, what you're doing is you're trying to play to the Facebook gods, the algorithm gods, the SEO gods. You're trying to appease what you think is expected of you in business to produce a result, and it's not working. And it doesn't give you any direction because it doesn't come from your soul. It's coming from you trying to anticipate or guess what the marketing gods are wanting you to say. And so you have no true north in your marketing. And this just makes the maze of madness worse. So what I'll have you consider here as we wrap is that the compass you need to invest in, the compass you need to establish is the message that you want to say to the world. And from that place, as you share, as you iterate day after day after day, you start to find your way back to center. You start to find your way out of the madness and into the mission and the meaning that you came for. So that's it, gang. What I want to invite you to is my 6-week program, because that 6-week program is designed to help you find this message that in order to lead you out of this madness and into the mission and meaning of your life. But in order to do that, you have to have the message. And this 6-week program not only helps you dive into the message, right? But iterate that message. And by the end of that message, actually create and launch a show around that message. So that not only do you have a mothership and platform for your marketing to the world, which grows your business, but you now have a compass ongoing for what you're here to say and do. This one thing gives you all the meaning that you need to go the distance in the work you're here to create in the world. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you can go to groundswellmethod.com. The link is in the text of this post, groundswellmethod.com. There's some videos for you there. And on the last page is an application button. Fill that out. It comes to me and off we go. Gang, look, the maze of madness is a sucky place to be. I've been there for years. I've had many seasons of life in the maze of madness. And what I've learned over time is that I need to, 1, get honest about where I'm stuck. And then number 2, lean into the message that's in my soul to say, because that is where I can find the compass. That's how I find my direction out of this madness. So here's to you, gang. Here's to you. Okay? Finding your message so that you can have a compass to get out of this maze of madness. See you tomorrow.